let's do this. Ladies and gentlemen, so I'm going to read some stuff to you, and it has everything to do with how they're planning to kill you. And it began a long time ago. So in Chicago's coming up. Trust me, it is. They planned this a long time ago. They invited Larry GRATHWOHL to join them at what would turn out to be a deliberately staged riot. That's what we have coming up in a couple weeks. GRATHWOHL alerted his father-in-law, who was a retired Cincinnati police officer. He met with police and FBI agents and agreed to infiltrate the weathermen as an informant, working at great personal risk. GRATHWOHL insinuated himself into the weathermen just as its leaders were making the decision to abandon their legal identities and disappear underground. That's where these folks are operating. I have their names, and I'm going to offer, if one person is killed from this day forward over the next 103 days, okay, you need to know who the perpetrators are. I'm going to tell you what their names are. Bill Ayers, Bernardine, Dohrn. I'm going to tell you that right now. They've already killed people. They've already bombed people. You're going to learn about them. The front face of this thing, all right? Although they're operating secretly behind the scenes, have been cooked. What's wrong? Yeah, you can leave it there. I'm going to have it for when he comes on. Bill Ayers and Bernardine Dohrn. He joined them there, moving between cities, squatting in bare apartments and trying to alert his FBI handlers as he watched Bill Ayers, Bernardine Dohrn, and other weather underground terrorists' plans. Planning mass casualty bombings and plot communist revolution. 40 years later, when this book was written, we were very lucky to have this memoir, which is GRATHWOHL's record of his time undercover. First unpublished in 1976, Bringing Down America, an FBI informer with the weathermen, is necessary reading for an understanding of the violent history and real ambitions of the weather underground. Now, this isn't some old stale technique. They're literally convening in Chicago in the next couple weeks. And there's a reason why the DNC is going to do it on Zoom, because you're going to die and they want to just be on Zoom while that's happening. It's coming. Chicago may be blown up with a suitcase nuke. You never know. I wouldn't put it past them. Ramsey Youssef, Merrick Garland, World Trade Center bombing. Listen, they're getting ready to kill you at scale. And they've been practicing it leading up to this 103-day window. Tomorrow, it's going to be 102 days. The day after that, it might even be 101, hopefully, God willing. In the decades since they emerged from hiding, the leaders of the weathermen have pulled off their most audacious feats. They negotiated a return to society, avoided legal consequences for their most serious crimes, and rose to influential positions in academia and politics, all without renouncing their anti-American ideology or apologizing for the acts of terrorism they committed against ordinary Americans. Today, the former weathermen continue to wage war on who? On fascist, imperialist America. America with a K. From inside institutions they once targeted with dynamite. It almost goes without saying that they are more powerful now than they ever were in their bomb-throwing days. Now, I'm going to throw, just for brief commentary, because we literally have 15 minutes until we get to. Now, okay. I'm going to read the following statement, Deb Santilli.
Mm-hmm.
They are more powerful now for what they've practiced and set the stage for this 103 days that are right in front of us. More powerful now than they were then when they were bombing people and killing people.
A lot of people forget that Bill Ayers and Bernardine Dohrn are still alive.
They are?
Tesa Boudin. Boudin, I think is his name. Yep.
Lindsay's going to be coming on, by the way.
Oh, good.
Yep.
Is their adopted son, right?
I'm going to break this down. You ready?
They literally ran him out of California on a rail. He was so radical.
They did, because they're starting to recognize what was going on, but not everybody is. So my question, just quick comment, because Dr. David Martin's coming.
Sure.
Is it not true that right now, this entity that he was exposed to is more dangerous right now than when they were blowing buildings up?
Oh, absolutely, because Bill Ayers and Bernardine Dohrn both admitted that the Weather Underground had learned from that experience of blowing things up, threatening to kill people. So what they did, and just look them up, you can see where they blew up the Capitol, caused the parts of the Capitol to collapse when they did it. Just look it up. They did. But so they admitted that they were wrong in their thinking, that violence was going to do it. And so what they did, Pete, is they truly came above ground. They all got pardons, and they were all allowed to come back in the United States of America, thanks partly to Bill Clinton. And, because they were living in Canada, and guess what they became? They became professors and lawyers. And that's where Michelle Obama and Barack Obama met Bernardine Dohrn and got involved in that circle of people and that way of thinking. And they said, we're going to stop the violence, right? But we are going to indoctrinate kids in our way of thinking. Now these people, guess what? All of these people that they have indoctrinated since the 60s, right? They are now your politicians on the left, and a new set of professors.
That's right. That's right.
They're the people in the streets. They're Antifa.
So let me continue on. All right. Bill Ayers, multiple decades.
John.
He's into his fourth decade. All right. As a national leader in the movement to radicalize the training of school teachers. His dream of turning children into activists for quote unquote social justice and transforming K through 12 classrooms into the motor force of revolution is rapidly coming true. He's greeted as a hero at education schools where his radical ideas rule the curriculum. Right now in Chicago, Bernardine Dohrn, the former mini-skirted terrorist who notoriously cheered, you ready? Ladies and gentlemen, and Deb, just on audio, chime in, all right? How many people hearing my voice right now that say that they're wide awake and they know what's going on, they got it figured out, they're like, yeah. How many of them know that Bernardine Dohrn cheered the murder of 8 months pregnant Sharon Tate, Tate's unborn child, and other victims of the Manson family? How many of them even know that? They know about Charlie Manson. They don't know who Bernardine Dohrn is. How many people, Deb, know that Bernardine Dohrn was Michelle Obama's best friend? She was a terroristic bomber that worshipped the Manson cult. How many of them know this?
They all worshipped the Manson.
They all did.
By the way, he was Charlie Manson. One of the things people don't know about him was that he was this big environmentalist. Up until the day he died, he ran an environmental website on the internet. It's probably still there. Charlie Manson's website, his environmental. He was insane when it came to stuff like that, right? But they did worship him for doing what he did. And so, yes.
That's right.
Not very many people know.
They don't know that. Well, guess what? Ladies and gentlemen, what you will see at any given moment, it could be day number 102. It could be day number 103. It could be day number 99. It's going to be a day of their choosing, but it will happen over the next 103 days. You know why? Because people like Alex Soros hear President Trump say, well, some people say that me getting shot, I'm a nice guy, now.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to be a nice guy. How many of you don't want me to be not so nice to the blah, blah, blah? And Alex Soros retweeted that. You know why? Because Alex Soros is involved in human trafficking and child sex stuff and all that crazy stuff with Abedin. You think I'm joking? Ladies and gentlemen, the level of evil, it was born out of the living room of Bernardine Dohrn and Bill Ayers and how they ran their cult and how Larry GRATHWOHL outlined it all as to how they ran the place.
He certainly did.
Sex, all of that, the demoralization, the co-opting of children, all this. They've been doing it for decades and did it. They had Barack Obama was literally just a little kid that came out of school and said, hey, let's use this black kid and push him forward. They made Barack Obama a president.
Well,
and guess what?
He was Frank Marshall's son. That's why.
These are the communist, Marxist revolutionaries that said that we will blow all of you up to make sure that we are in power within this 103-day window right now. Now, they also have planned, ladies and gentlemen, to take each and every one of you and get you re-educated. And those of you that can't be will be eliminated.
What year did Mr. GRATHWOHL write this book, Pete? What year was it published?
The year was, it's been republished, but it was originally published in 1976. Okay.
The very same book?
It was first published in 1976.
And then...
This is a republished. The first book was published in 1976.
But did he add to it, though?
Yeah, this is added to it. This is the introduction.
This is the newest.
The newest one, okay? So, ladies and gentlemen, so we have Bernardine Dohrn. What she really does is agitate against schools and juvenile courts that use zero tolerance and other discipline to bring order to the lives of children growing up in the violent community. Dohrn's activism is a continuation of the Weatherman's longstanding antipathy towards law enforcement. Yet, in her private life, she enjoys the privileges of being a professor of law at Northwestern University and a high-ranking officer of the American Bar Association.
And again, when was this republished?
76.
No, republished.
Oh, republished. And within the past 5 years.
No, when Mr. GRATHWOHL republished it.
2013.
At 2013. So think about that. 2013, that was 11 years ago, right? In that 11 years, there has been a whole new generation of young people that have graduated from these schools and literally gone to these colleges. And that's who you're seeing out in the streets. He predicted this would happen because he knew, because he was there and he witnessed what their plan was. And I think people should pick up this book. Pete, you do have the link for that, right?
Oh, I do. Not only that, but I'm going to talk to Lindsay. Listen, you need to understand what's going to happen. There's going to be a massive event within these 103 days.
Well, Larry GRATHWOHL is still on YouTube. All of his speeches and talks that he gave. You guys need
We're going to feature him.
Go back and look at him. Yeah.
Banks are supposed to be the safest placeholders for cash in the world, but in 2022 that changed. The Federal Reserve pulled out $2.5 trillion of liquidity out of the banks, and the Fed also changed the requirements so banks don't need to keep any funds on hand. This means banks are starved for liquidity and have now become very dangerous places to hold your assets. Get out of the system with the world's safest and most private assets, silver and gold. Call Kirk Elliott, PhD at 720-605-3900.
Be sure to tell him Pete Santilli sent you.